When we are seeing the hologram glitch of the celebrities and we are seeing hooves all over the place in the mainstream world with all the singing, dancing, politicians, celebrities, we are seeing hooves and we are seeing the animal behind the hologram. We are seeing claws, we are seeing reptilian tongues. So when we're seeing all that, it is not a new situation. If you look at the Hebrew scriptures, the hybridized animal form is that of the cherubim angels. In their form, they have three animals conjoined with their human form. That makes a cherubim. So it's not a surprising thing, or it is not a unique or like an experimental based situation only, but you can trace that back into the scriptures and see the pre-existence of this hybridized animal form that the angels are made of. When you see the hooves of these celebrities, where it's coming from, it's like it's literally written in the Hebrew scriptures. So this one is the book of Ezekiel. And this book you can find in the Bible, which is like in the Old Testament. And in this it says, their legs were straight, their feet were that of a calf. So calf has hoof. So it's like their legs were straight, as in straight, and their feet were that of a calf. This is like the description of the cherubim angel. So if you read this, I looked and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. So it's over here, it says, in appearance, their form was human, but they had 4 faces and 4 wings. So you'll see that glitch a lot through the hologram. So you might see hooves, you might see claws. They have extensions of other animals coming through as a cherubim angel. Their legs were straight, their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings, on their foreside, they had human hands. All four of them had faces and wings, and the wings of one touched the other. Each one went straight ahead. They did not turn as they moved. So this here it says, appearance was human, but they had 4 faces. Which are the 4 faces? It's these ones. The faces looked like each of the 4 had a face of a human being. On the right side, the face of a lion. On the left, face of an ox. And also had a face of an eagle. So the 4 faces is the face of a human, face of a lion, face of an ox, and face of an eagle. And their feet that look like a calf, it comes from that ox feature. This is the hybridized form that you can expect. And when you see that in the mainstream world, when you see other animals and other animal features popping through the hologram, these are the fallen angels, cherubim fallen angels. So that's the description of the cherubim fallen angels seen and given testimony by Ezekiel. And you should not be afraid or alarmed when you hear like celebrities that are hybridized with animals. You can reference that back to the cherubim angels and how they are created, and the description of them has already been given. So you should not be alarmed or afraid, because these are actually the design of the cherubim angels when they have animal hybridized in their human form, because it says it looked like a human, but it had 4 other faces. You will see that hybridization, but I don't know what the heavenly term for that is, but in the human language, they call it like hybridizing different things, putting different things together. And you'll see that with the deep underground military bases, dumb experimentation, that they are constantly doing the same hybridization. They're playing with their own genetics and they keep hybridizing. And that's where they get these concepts and ideas from, because they are the cherubims and they are created that way, or they are that way. They're hybridized with other animals. So for them, it's more conceivable to do that kind of human-animal hybridization experimentation. So this all has a spiritual basis, and it all comes from somewhere. So its origin is in heaven. But all the experimentation that they are doing on this earth, hybridizing human with animals, it's actually their own form. But we humans are different. We do not have animal hybridization. We are a complete human being. And it's almost like a purified form. Like we do not have the animalistic nature. And the whole premise of Buddhism is to tame your animalistic nature as well. So when you see a lot of crazy things happening in this world, it's coming from like some of the animalistic nature that these fallen cherubim angels are hybridized with. With Daniel's dream of the four beasts, this is also a book found in the Bible. You can research this. It gives a lot of details about the book of Revelation. Daniel's four beasts or Daniel's dream, you can have a look. It talks about more animals and how these animals are actually ruling over human beings. So when you see the ruling elite associated with a lot of animals, you see them in their hybridized form, you see them glitching claws and hooves, or reptilian forms, shape-shifting, glitching through the hologram. When you see all that, it is all written in the scriptures. So these are all hybridized angelic forms that are coming from the heavens. And so you just have to understand them according to the scriptures. So in this one it says, the first was like a lion, and it had wings of an angel. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it. So this was a lion and had a eagle's wing, and it stood on its feet like a human being and had a mind of a human being. So this is what you're seeing within the ruling elite that are shape-shifting and glitching through the hologram. This is what you're seeing. Standing on 2 feet like a human being with the mind of a human, but they are hybridized animal forms. So you have the first beast, the second beast would look like a bear. Then you have another beast that looked like a leopard, and there's a fourth beast. That's the one that the current reality that we are in, the current time. We are in the season of the fourth beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful, with large iron teeth that devoured its victims and trampled underfoot wherever it went. It was different from all the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. So you can look this up. So this is all the evil beasts. This is like all the beasts that we're dealing with. So this animal hybridization, it's very common and written in the scriptures. Even the holy angels, like the cherubims, they have the animal hybridization with the 4 animals. And then you have the bad animals here, or like the evil ones here. And then, so when you see the elites in the animal form, this is what's going on. So the cherubim angelic system is also closely related to the Tihar festival of Nepal, or Nepalese people in general, because Nepalese people are spread across the world. So Tihar is celebrated by Nepalese people, and it is a yearly festival. In the Tihar festival, there are usually 5 days that is celebrated, and each day you have a celebration of the crow, celebration of the dog, then the celebration of the ox and the cow, celebration of the self, and the celebration of the bond of the brother and sister. That's usually like the 5 days that is the celebration of Tihar. But these things can be tampered with through the generations, because we live in a world ruled by Satan. So we always have to leave some room for discernment, because not everything is going to be 100% accurate, because we live in a satanic world. But you can get the basic knowledge and the basic understanding of what's going on here, and it might not be 100% accurate, because everything is tampered with and everything is hacked. but I see this as directly related to the cherubims and so keeping the cherubim line, keeping this cherubim code on this earth. How these 5 animals or 4 animals directly connect or have a total parallel to the cherubim angels. So like the cherubim angel that has an eagle and a lion. So the eagle correlates to the crow. The lion could correlate to the dog. And it has an ox, which is like the cow. The Gai Tihar is like the cow. And then you have the ox there as well. And you have the self like as the human. And the brother-sister bond as well. So it's like this crow could be the eagle. Dog could be the lion of the cherubim. The ox and the cow is the ox and the cow of the cherubim. And then you have the self, and then you also have the brother-sister bond. And sometimes this particular 4th day, is also celebrated as Govardhan Puja, which is, Govardhan is like cow dung. So this is so heavily connected to Ezekiel, because Ezekiel was God, our Father in heaven told Ezekiel to cook in human poop, but Ezekiel said, I want to cook in cow poop and not human poop. And then Ezekiel was permitted by God to cook in cow dung. So I look at this cow dung as that. So this is like, Govar is like cow, so cow dung. So this is like totally connected to Ezekiel. So you have the cow dung, you have the ox, you have the eagle, crow, you have the dog, lion, and then you have the human element as well. So like this is directly connected to Ezekiel. This is directly connected to the cherubim angels, and the Nepalese people actually celebrate this. And in the Tihar with the Bhai Tika, the brother-sister bond, you also have a brother and a sister that celebrates each other. So on the 5th day, they celebrate each other. And the sister usually prays for the long life and immortality of the brother. Because as you can see in the Hebrew scriptures with the Son of God that died in his wedding chamber, that is written in the old scriptures that the Son of God that came to this earth and died in his wedding chamber. And that is seen as Christ's first coming, that he died in his first coming. And that was also his engagement. I think the first coming was Christ paid the bride price and he went to heaven. So that was like how he died in the wedding chamber. That's his first coming. So that's like his engagement. So that's why the sister prays for the long life of the brother and prays for his immortality. And that's what the Bhai Tika is for. That's why the brother and sister bond, the Bhai Tika is like celebrating your brother. It's basically that. And the sister is praying for the brother's immortality and long life. I am keeping my interpretation of this Yama and Yamuna open because Yama is usually the god of death, and how can the sister pray for immortality of the god of death while he is the god of death? So I feel like there is some tampering with this. So I don't think it's the god of death with the Yama and Yamuna. I don't believe that. I think that's been tampered with. But generally, that's how I see it when the Son of God dies, and the sister is always praying for the brother to live. So you can connect it that way. So all of this is connected, and all of this is pre-existing. It's already part of the human system. It's already part of our celebrations. It predates anything. It predates any religion or any system, and it's just so naturally part of the story is just ours, and it's part of who we are, and we celebrate this and we observe these things and we keep these things. And most likely Father created this, but I feel like this Tihar has been tampered with. Some of the gods have been changed, and that's what I feel when I reference it and when I try to authenticate it and connect it. I feel like there's some tampering here, but the essence is there, and the story is there, and the meaning is there, and you can easily connect it, and you can see it as clear as day. when you connect Ezekiel's cherubim angels, and you have like including the detail of the cow dung, you have that as well. And then you have the sister praying for the immortality and longevity of his life for her brother. So you have all of that is covered. So you can connect it and look at it that way. So this is the 4 living creatures, the lion, human, eagle, and the ox or cow. So that's the 4 living creatures with the feet of a oxen or a cow, which is like having hooves and wings, but the hands of a human being. So someone drew this and said, this is a cherubim angel, and that's not a cherub. But someone made that baby cherub, because I think these fallen angels, they're pedophiles and they love children. So I think they made a image of a child to hide and conceal their own identity. And they do that a lot. They love to conceal their identity and hide themselves. So they made that into like this cute little baby angel as a cherub and popularized that. But it's not true, because this is the accurate description of a cherubim angel, and that's not. If they're doing that, that's just because they're pedophiles. And over here as well, you can see that hoof is nicely shown there. That's like your cherubim angel. And this is the 4 faces of the 4 living creatures, the same cherubim. Eagle, lion, man, and ox. That can be a fallen cherubim, because you'll see a lot of this dark cherubim art online. And that's coming from the fallen cherubim. They love to present themselves as extremely dark cherubim creatures. These are the fallen angels, the fallen cherubim. So the cherubim angels that fell from heaven because they rebelled against Father. And you can see his hoofs. And these eyes are also written and spoken about in the scriptures. You can see the same thing here, the hooves and the 4 faces. That's God, and that's the throne of God. More of that. Hooves, the wings, the 4 faces. So that's your real cherubim. So that's more of a darker expression of the cherubim, which are the fallen angels. If you see dark art like this, that usually represents the fallen angels, cherubim, and not the holy angels or the holy cherubim. This is like eagle, lion, oxen, and man.